This week, we are joined by redshirt junior running back and star of the Maryland football ground game, Roman Hemby. Roman, thank you for being our first guest of the season.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So to start it off, you've seen a lot of different people, a lot of different things come through this Maryland football team in the last 3 or 4 years. But now a new year for you and a new year for the entire team. What do you kind of see as your role in the team as a leader and as a running back?
Oh yeah, I definitely see an increased role just being a leader and being one of the older guys on the team, being more vocal, and kind of letting my play do a little bit more of the talking for me while I coach up some of the younger guys while I'm off the field and things like that. So it's definitely been a change, but I'm definitely excited for the future of our team.
Now, one of the biggest stories about the team so far is the quarterback play. Now, Mike Loxley, he said that the team knows who the starting QB is going to be, but he's not going to release that information yet. Still, kind of, what's the confidence that you guys have in that quarterback room, no matter who's starting on Saturday for you guys?
Oh yeah, we have tremendous confidence in all of the quarterbacks that are on our roster. I feel like during camp we were able to kind of play with all of them and have them all out there in different scenarios and different situations. And I have the utmost confidence that any of them that take the field with us on Saturday, any Saturday in the season, they'll give us the best chance to win.
Kind of looking at your career at Maryland as a whole, had that super strong second year when you're a redshirt freshman, and last year a stronger start to the season, not as great as the season went on. How did you kind of use that in the back of your mind to help build in this offseason to be as prepared as you could be for opening weekend this weekend?
Yeah, there's ebbs and flows in every season, and I feel like um, sometimes you have places or things that happen in the season that don't have the best interest or they give you the best chance to win and things like that. So I had an up and down season last year where I was able to learn a little bit more about myself as a teammate by being a leader, by taking a step back and kind of humbling myself to kind of get back to the drawing board. And I feel like that's something that's needed in a lot of people's games, and especially for mine. I was able to get back to the drawing board, find out what worked, what didn't work, and just become an overall better player and better person as a result of it. And I'm ready to, take the field this year and put everything on display.
You guys obviously expect to, with a new quarterback, and I'm sure it'll be an adjustment for you, but the offense will also go through somewhat of an adjustment, as Loxley's talked about. Um, the run game, the quarterback run game, I think will be more of a factor likely. For a running back, can you kind of explain to non football players what that's like having a guy who you can run, say it's Billy or MJ, multiple times a game? Because Talia was a good scrambler, but to have that added element, how much does that open you up? Kind of take me through the football X's and O's through that.
Oh yeah, when we have quarterbacks that are, have designed runs, they're good with their legs and stuff like that, it opens a lot of things up for me because just the simple fact that they have several reads or things that they look at on plays, and it gives our team an advantage because defenses can't collapse the pocket or anything to swarm on me because the quarterback can pull the ball and run as well. So it kind of keeps them honest. It adds another facet to our game, and it helps us to play faster because we're able to read keys and make the defense seem like they're always wrong, if that makes sense.
Kind of taking it back 4 years, tell us about your decision to come to Maryland in the first place, coming from Edgewood, Maryland, homegrown product. Kind of what was going into that decision? Why did you make that? Kind of tell us about that.
Yeah, it was definitely a big decision for me. I know when I was a young guy coming up and everything, I always looked at Maryland. I was a fan of Maryland growing up, but as I got older, you know, being a teenager, I always said I wanted to venture out and get away from home and, learn what it was like to be a man on my own and kind of grow up. But as I seen how the program was being forged and I seen some of the hometown guys start to choose to stay home, it made me feel like maybe I could do something better here. And, my mother always told me, like, why go somewhere else and make that home state better, make that state better when you can stay home and make your home state better and have that home environment and being able to go see your family and everything like that. And it really was truly the best decision I've made. And I'm so glad that I chose to stay home and, come to the University of Maryland.
That mentality you had, we've seen a lot of the other recruits who've committed to Maryland in the last 6 months or so have as well. Is that something you've talked to them about? A lot of DMV guys deciding to come to Maryland. That's something when you've had recruits in and Loxley's kind of talked about those guys, the importance of staying home.
Yeah, it's one of those big things that I feel like plays a huge part in the recruiting game. Especially when you have a teenager that's kind of going through the same things that I went through. You're hearing a lot of things about going away from home and doing things on the road, but nothing really beats being able to stay home and play in front of that family environment. And I think it's more so one of those things where we realize that we have a lot of talent here. There's a lot of talent in the DMV area that goes elsewhere and they thrive in different programs. But when you kind of get those guys to, hey, like, let's stay home and let's make our home state better. Let's put on for the teams that we grew up playing for growing up. And it makes a huge difference when you get those great guys to stay home and build something together.
Roman, you've kind of switched up your on-field look over the years, and kind of now stuck with the. I feel like the basic kind of no arm sleeves, no accessories, nothing. Is anything going to change this year? And then also, who would you say to you has the best look on field of a Maryland player right now? Who's bringing it the most?
Um, that's a good question. I feel like I'm gonna pretty much stay the same with what I wear. I might do leg tights a little more often this year, just because that's just something that I practiced in and I felt pretty good in. Um, as far as who has the best team look on the field, I think you can go down the receiver room and you can see pretty much, a lot of the good dressers are in the receiver room with Caden Prather, Todd Felton, Braden Wislowski, and a lot of the other guys like that. They pretty much have the best on the field.
Are you saying off field? You bringing it more than them, or what's kind of the? Is there a contrast there?
Yeah. I feel like off the field, I got them beat, but they definitely know how to dress as well. I feel like it's a friendly competition, and we all have our own different styles, and it helps us to kind of have conversations in the locker room about certain things outside of ball.
Yeah, for a team that you guys have kind of you're bringing back a lot of people, but also that's mostly on the defensive side, and then on offense, the skill positions are kind of similar. What are some strategies that I know Loxley's talked a lot about you as a team leader. Have you guys done stuff off the field? Like, what's some stories or anecdotes you can share that kind of takes the audience behind the scenes a little into how you guys are growing closer as a team? Because you can talk a lot about, oh, we're close as a team, oh, we're doing this and that, but like, what is it exactly that you're doing to kind of facilitate that?
Yeah, I feel like the coaches, they do a really good job making sure that we're always around each other and we have events to where we have to kind of, bond with one another. I could speak on like something that we did over camp. We had a little like game where we would come in there every day in our team meeting and we would try to guess what Terp was being talked about. Like we would do 5 facts about a random player and everybody would take turns guessing, trying to learn more about that person. And outside of that, like just having team events. We just had a team movie night in the stadium the other day where we kind of all were able to sit with each other, eat together, and just enjoy a movie together. And we kind of just balance those things off each other, being around each other for a lot of time, talking to one another, and kind of learning more about each other. And I feel like that helps us to build that bond that's unbreakable when we come onto the field.
Roman, College Football 25 was released in July. Of that, have you played it? And then what has it been like when you're playing as yourself in the video game?
It's definitely amazing. It's something that I always dreamed of growing up, and you could ask any of my friends in high school. I always told them I didn't play video games in high school and anything like that, and I didn't play video games going into college either. And I always told my friends in high school like I would play video games when I was in one. So when the game came out, I rushed to GameStop, bought a PS5, and I've been playing it ever since. But I think the craziest thing, or like the thing that makes me feel the best about the game, playing the game with the Maryland Terrapins, but watching my family get to see me play or watching them play the game as well is really cool. Like I have a 5-year-old nephew that's just so amazed with the fact that he sees me in a video game, and it's like it's a crazy feeling to have something like that go on. So that's something that I take away from it, and just being able to see some of our hard work kind of reign true on the biggest stage.
That's great. That's great stuff. I think one of those in the NCAA game, the teams that you guys are playing, you get to play some cool teams, and you guys obviously have a tough back half of the schedule. Why do you guys think that haven't been able to capitalize on a big win yet in your time? I mean, in the past 2 years, when you guys have played ranked opponents, you've only averaged 37 rushing yards in those games. What do you think's been the biggest limiting factor for you guys?
I think it's just not beating ourselves. When we play teams like that, we can't afford to make mental mistakes and physical mistakes that give the other team an edge. I feel like we are very close to having that breakout win or that win that kind of sets us over the top or gives us momentum. But when we play those games, I think we have to get back to neutral a little bit more and control the game a little bit more because we're right where we want to be, but at times we kind of um, give the game away because we do simple things or things that we've practiced a million times and we don't do them to the best of our abilities. So I think this year we have to kind of ground ourselves, get back to neutral, and try to outplay those teams, not by the scheme or anything, but just going out there with the mentality that we're going to do what we're supposed to do when we're supposed to do it, and I think we'll be able to make that turn.
One more for you, Roman. Which game do you personally kind of have? I mean, I know you're obviously looking forward to playing everybody, but which one do you have circled as a game you're really looking forward to and really want to play?
Uh, It's really all of them. I would say the first game because that's the most important game to me in the moment. I will say senior night, just being a senior, I feel like that's something to look forward to. Being able to take the field one last time, or potentially one last time with my brothers, that'll be something that I look forward to as well. But one game at a time, I'm definitely taking every game the same way, and I'm just excited to be able to have the opportunity to play these games.
Quick follow up. You said you have one more year of eligibility, correct? Technically, isn't there like a what would it take for you to kind of, I know it's a really long way, but are you looking towards like going to the league this year? Is there something that you're kind of that's in the balance that are you thinking about?
It's definitely in the balance. I feel like my play this year will kind of determine that, and I kind of leave it in God's hands, and I know He has the best plan for me, so that's what I kind of chalk it up to, and I just put my head down and work. So we'll see where the chips fall in December when the time comes. But as of right now, I'm just focused on taking it one game at a time.
And then one last question. When you're looking at the past 3 years, what's been your favorite memory as a Maryland Terrapin so far?
I think it's just going to bowl games, winning three back-to-back bowl wins. I think that's something that is very special. Just because I've been here going on 4 years, and we've won a bowl game every year, and we kind of turned the tide on that aspect. It's just so cool to be able to extend your season, to take a road trip with your team, and to start the next season off with a win in the big stage on a bowl game platform. I think that that's something that is very very special, and it's something that we definitely don't take lightly around here. So I think any of the three bowl wins is something that I can look back on and say those are like one of my greatest memories here.
Roman, in classic journalist podcasting fashion, we've told you one more question a couple times, but I promise this is the last one from me at least. Um, you guys, Talia talked about how last offseason he had, people reaching out to him in the portal asking, to potentially leave Maryland. You had such a good season last year. This offseason, what was the chatter like? I just kind of want to hear from a player. You don't have to, say necessarily who or what if it happened, but what was kind of the talks? Did teams reach out to you? How do you kind of balance that in the off season?
It was nothing really for me. I just know, some of the teammates that had left or, saw other opportunities, they had schools reaching out to them and things like that going on. Once they entered the portal, or maybe they got word from, NIL agencies and things like that, kind of giving them word that there was other opportunity. But for me, I was pretty much just so focused on coming back to the University of Maryland that I was, trying to do everything in my power to do things right to kind of set myself up for the next season. So that's kind of what I did. I went to work. I got with Coach Scott and Coach Locks as soon as possible to kind of figure out what I needed to do to kind of elevate my game. And that was like the main course of what I was, talking about throughout the offseason.
Right on. Well, we look forward to seeing how that pays off this weekend and pays off through the rest of the season. So, Roman, thank you very much for joining us.